You're like so gay.
Oh my goodness. Hello, all you sexual deviants.
And sexual deviant wannabes? I wasn't sure if you were trading off. We'll work on that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Welcome to Queering the Air.
Welcome.
We are so glad that you are here joining us today, or whenever you're listening to us.
Whenever you're listening to us talking.
We're just happy you're listening to us. Thank you.
Oh my God. We need to do like one of those like High School Musical. Brr, brr, ma.
Yeah.
Get out the juju. Get into the groove. Welcome to Queering the Air. Yes.
Tonight.
This is our brand new recorded Zoom call.
While some other podcasts may say that because we're in quarantine, they're on Zoom, we are on opposite sides of the country, so we will be consistently on Zoom.
When will we be together again? When will we reunite? Maybe when I come back east this summer.
Yeah, I'm not moving to the West Coast, sorry.
You like the winter for some reason.
I love the seasons. I could never give up fall.
Okay,
Sorry.
well, like, Northern California has fall.
Okay, but you don't live in Northern California.
No, but plenty of great people do. Okay, anyways, what's up? My name is Aaron.
My name is Matt.
And we're queer.
Yes, we are.
This is the third time that we're filming this, so we should be professionals at this point.
I would say we're like amateurs at best.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes like 10,000 hours to become an expert at something, right? So if we do one episode a week and it takes us like an hour to film, then by the year 2200
I'm going to double check that math, but I think you're right on.
I studied arts and crafts, so it's like, I don't know. I just pulled that number
Yeah.
out of my magic hat. Anyway, welcome to Queering the Air. This is just our little like get to know us episode because we want to make sure that everybody who's listening is semi-familiar with who we are, because we're going to be talking a lot.
Well, we're going to be asking other people who they are a lot of the time, so might as well let you know who we are.
That's true. Get a full
so you
picture.
Get a little background.
Yeah. So this is Matthew Rohr.
Hello.
He is 25.
25.
Zaddy.
God.
He is from Westchester, New York. He was a diver at Tufts University. He graduated in 2017 and studied Italian and classics. He studied abroad in Sorrento. I love that fact.
Why?
I don't
so
know. I don't know. I just am picturing you like running around the Sorrento coast, just like woohoo.
Basically, yeah.
Nona.
Oh, I loved her so much.
I really wish that I could just taste her pasta.
It was ridiculous how hard she tried to get me to eat meat. I've been a vegetarian for 10 years, and when I was like going to study abroad, I intentionally and explicitly told my study abroad program, I'm vegetarian and I'm not breaking that, but I want to do a homestay. So like, if it's a problem, let me know. I will work it out. Yeah, I'm not gonna like inconvenience this family. And they were like, you'll be totally fine. I was like, great. I would find like large pieces of meat in my pasta. The grandmother who was cooking for me 3 to 4 times a week would be like, you're so skinny, you need to eat meat. This is not healthy for you.
That is like the Italian grandmother mindset, 100%. We love that.
But she was lovely and I miss her.
In addition to studying abroad in Italy and being so cultured, Matt I feel like I'm like introing you on like a dating show. Like, yes, so Matt is currently in law school. He just finished his first year at a fantastic school down south. He's becoming a Southern gal in front of our eyes.
I still have not picked up the y'all, and I think I'm gonna wait, and then once I move back north, then I'll start saying y'all.
You'll get there. Honestly, I feel like y'all is like more synonym, like more like tied to being gay than being Southern at this point.
Interesting. I don't know if I would agree, but I'll get back to you on that.
He is probably going into family law and things like that. He is currently hiding in rural Pennsylvania for the time being. He's a recovering scene kid.
Oh, yeah. I mean, recovering is
No, yeah,
generous.
You're fully just in it. Like, you still only listen to screamo music and country, which I think is the weirdest comment. Like, when people are like, what music do you listen to? I'm like, not country and not screamo. And those are, like, what Matthew listens to. And Ariana Grande, Rain
I would say
on Me
my,
with Lady Gaga.
I would say, like, the top 3 genres for me are, well, it depends on the season, but in general.
In the winter.
Emo screaming music, country, and then, like, circuit party remixes.
Who are you?
That's a great question. When you find out, please let me know.
I will. And that's the purpose of our podcast, to find ourselves.
Anyway, my co-host is the Erin Idelson. She is from upstate New York. She's from actual upstate, for anybody who would consider Westchester upstate.
More
you're
cows
wrong,
than people, more Confederate flags than American flags.
which doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Anyway, also went to Tufts University in Dover, graduated in 2018 as a film and media studies major and a sociology minor. So she's going to be giving you all the different sociological terms and filling us in on the newest cutting edge studies in sociology.
Sure.
But now she lives in Los Angeles, just kind of living her best life, in my opinion. He's an amazingly talented video editor. He's got an incredible YouTube channel with some really incredible videos on there. Go check him out, youtube.com/that'ssoaaron.
Gas me
like,
up.
comment, subscribe.
Oh my God. Such a loyal fan.
I go through phases where I'm like, oh, I need to make sure I've liked and commented on all his videos, and then I'll do like
God.
2, because I'll want to watch the videos. And
He wants to get me that playtime. YouTube tracks that.
Do they really?
They track watch time. That's how they know what to recommend to people. If people watch more of the video, then it's more recommended to people because they want people to stay for the whole time. So the juicier the video, like the ones that are like super drama-y and people are like so hooked, that's why those do so well, because they're like, wow, people just spent 47 minutes watching this person tell all.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Am I dumb for not knowing that?
No. I feel like that's only something that you know if you like make YouTube videos. Sorry to cut you off. I just thought that
No.
I find it so
No, it's
interesting,
super-
the algorithm.
That is super interesting. Erin is single, and I'm sure he has I take it back, I know he has lots of stories about his singlehood to
We should
share
do that on
the
like a
pod.
Valentine's Day episode or something.
Oh, that's a
You can
that's a
have
cute idea.
it can be like a 2-hour episode. Dave can come on for an hour, and then I'll come on for an hour and just talk about what it's
and
been
you
like
should have
being
a
single.
You should have a Tinder or Hinge date come on.
I'm gonna see myself out of this podcast now. I think that would be a really funny podcast, though. I texted Matt the other night, and I was like, wouldn't it be so wild if it's like I just brought on like random Tinder people to interview?
That would be really funny. I thought it'd be super fun to do like when I was in college, I thought it'd be a really fun idea to do like a party where it was like a date party, but everybody's date was it was like a first date from Tinder.
That would be so funny.
So if you're in
People
college,
would all like switch in the middle of the
Yeah.
party. They'd be like, I don't
Oh,
like you, but
totally.
I'm gonna go make out with that person. Oh
Absolutely.
my God.
So if you're in college, and I'm specifically talking to my little sister, you should make this happen. Because I want to hear about it.
Yes, I'm very single, but Matt is not.
No.
Matt has been in a relationship for quite a long time, 3.5 years.
Yeah, speaking of Tinder,
Speaking of Tinder, yes, they met on Tinder.
I met up with one person from Tinder ever.
That's false.
Okay, you're right. I've been on one date with someone from Tinder. And 3.5 years later, here we are.
Love that for you. Thank God I just
so
got back
excited.
on Tinder.
You were off Tinder?
Should I tell that story?
I don't even think I know this story.
You stupid idiot. I literally told it the last time we recorded this.
When I
got banned.
I know, I was trying to like lead you into it.
Oh, you were playing along?
I was like, yes.
I couldn't tell. You're a really good actress, girl.
I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, I've had a Tinder. I made a Tinder senior year of high school right before I went to college and had it forever. I actually deleted my Tinder in August when I made a new one because I had accumulated so many matches that I never talked to.
Oh my God, are you like really hot or something?
No, I just would go through phases where I'd be like, yes, and I'm just...
Oh, the attention seeking is off the chart.
When you had
It was
one...
totally a thing with, yeah.
When you had one, would you just like swipe right and you'd be like, I'm gonna say yes, but like, I'm not gonna message them. Like, if they message me, like, then fine.
Yeah,
Oh, I was like, oh, am I alone in that?
that's how
That's how you
I
always did
started
it?
dating my boyfriend.
Really? Shut the
Yeah,
fuck
well,
up.
because I was not like on Tinder for some reason. I had this really stupid mindset of like,
We all did. That we were above
Yeah,
online
of, like-
dating and it was weird.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to make a video. I wrote a video about that, about how we all have like this stigma attached to online dating, and I was like so against it for a long time. The psychology of it is interesting to me.
I'm sure. Okay, Miss Sociologist. Anyway, yeah, I like had that mindset, and so I like was drunk in college, downloaded Tinder, and then woke up in the morning and I had one match,
And it was Dave.
and it was Dave.
Shut the fuck
And
up.
I know.
That's
And
like
it
some
was,
divine. Like God was like, drink this tequila, and then you're welcome.
Well, we had like 50 mutual friends on Facebook, because even though we were in Boston, where I was in school and where he was living, we're from the same hometown but never knew each other, but had like 50 mutual friends on Facebook. So I think in my drunken state, he was the only person that I was like,
You're like,
oh,
he
yeah,
seems
like,
normal.
Yeah, I was like, he must be from my hometown.
I
know?
trust this.
So I think that's what ended up happening.
I love
And
that.
then he messaged me, and the rest is history. And
I love that.
I
for
kick
you.
myself every day for not taking the initiative, but it worked out.
I thought you were gonna say for not downloading Tinder sooner. But I recently, mid-March, or maybe it was early April, I don't know. I just went to log in one day because I was so bored during quarantine because there was nothing to do. So I was like, fine, I'll go on dating apps and like swipe. But then it's like the mental capacity to actually like talk to people was so hard because I was like, when am I ever gonna even be able to like contemplate meeting you? But I went to log in one day and my account was banned and I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on. So I tried to contact them and I was like, hey, I don't know what happened. And they were like, yeah, sorry, we're not going to give you any information about this because that's their policy.
My God.
They just ban people and they won't tell you why. They sent me a link to like an article that was like, these are the reasons that you probably got banned. And it was like harassment, like soliciting sex. And I was like, nope, not doing any of those. The one thing that I could think of that it might have been was that when you sign up, you can like use your school email address and it'll like link you to your college. But when people are in college, it like shows you what school you go to I don't even know why, to kind of like
I thought it, okay.
promote inter-college relationships or something. I'm not sure. But I did that after I graduated.
Interscholastic fraternity.
Book fairs. But I did that after I graduated, so I was like, maybe that was like viewed as catfishing or something, but I did go to Tufts, so I was like, that's the only thing that I could think of. But regardless, my friend Kyle recently filled me in on a loophole to get back onto Tinder when you get banned. When you get banned from Tinder, they ban your Facebook and they ban your phone number so that you can't make another account with either of those. What Kyle told me to do is download Google Voice and it assigns you like a phone number to text people from over Wi-Fi. So I got a new phone number and then I was very easily able to make a new Tinder account. It took like 4 minutes.
Wow, that is definitely a loophole.
It is a loophole, but in making this new account, I was able to just type in my name and then upload whatever pictures I wanted. So there is no way to actually verify that who you think you're talking to is who you're talking to now. Anyways, be careful on Tinder. Let's move along.
Yeah. Anyway, something that we wanted to talk about, clear up front, that we think is really important is a term that we're going to be using a lot throughout this podcast.
It's even in the name.
It's even in the name. That term is queer.
Queer, nowadays, at least for us, I feel like this is a very widely used definition now, but I don't want to say that it's like all encompassing because I'm sure that many people across the globe have very different relationships with this word. But at least for us, we view queer as an umbrella term for the entire LGBTQIA spectrum. So basically just saying like not straight, not hetero.
Yeah, and we recognize that this term is a slur. It has been used as a slur in the past, and people are still called queer in a derogatory nature these days. However, there has been a lot of reclaiming of this term as gay men, as queer people, homosexuals. We have embraced the term.
We have reclaimed our slur.
Yeah, and we are just going to use it going forward a lot to just refer to someone who, you know, we may not know what the specific label that they like is. Yeah. They may not have a specific label that they like. They just want to make sure people know that they're not straight. That's pretty much where it comes from.
Which is a very like important conversation, I think. Also, I remember I had a discussion with this with one day at like we were sitting in DeWitt because he looked at me and he was like, Aaron, would you hook up with a girl? And I was like, I don't know, like maybe, like if the timing was right and I was very attracted to them, like I don't rule that out. And why? Like, I was like, why? And he was like, well, you're gay. And I was like, so if I hook up with a girl, like, does that make me bisexual? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, why are you telling me what my sexuality is? And he was like, oh. And like, he was like a freshman at the time, so I'm sure that like I probably would have had a similar mindset when I was younger. But I was just kind of like, it's not really black and white.
But that being said, you can still identify as gay and make out with a girl and still be gay. Just like you can be a straight man, make out with a guy, and you're still straight.
Or we can just get rid of labels and just be like, yeah, I just do what I want. 2020!
I like that idea.
Yeah, but also we do recognize that like for some people labels are important, and how you identify can be very important to you, and we don't want to discount that at all, of course.
Same with pronouns, too. I think that's like another really important thing, because for some people, I feel like pronouns are kind of like a hot topic, because some people get really worked up about pronouns, which I'll never understand.
It's always fucking cisgendered people where they're like, my pronoun is pizza, and it's like, that's just just shut up.
Yeah, well, you have the intelligence of a pizza too, exactly. So fuck off, bro. For us, we do go by he, him, his pronouns, but we are cisgender, and it's pretty common in the gay queer community to refer to people by pronouns. I think often cisgender people by pronouns that are not what they usually go with. I mean, you probably heard it earlier in this podcast. I was referring to Aaron as she. Gay
men, I feel like nowadays refer to everything as she. Like I'm like drinking this vodka soda and I'm like, she's delicious.
I mean, it's a compliment. Although as soon as you said that, it kind of got me thinking that like, if we're giving inanimate objects like the she pronoun, does that mean we're like belittling
the
femininity?
Power of a pronoun? Oh, I don't think so. I think women are so far superior to men.
I mean, I know they are. So,
I mean, also, like, another thing that I know that you want to touch on later based on this outline, just to touch on it now as well, like, if you hear anything that we're talking about and you're like, oh, I don't agree with that, oh, I think they're stupid, we are very open to criticism and thoughts and critique. Like, we always want to, like, listen to everybody's point of view and be corrected and learn and constantly grow. So
yeah, yes. Totally.
Just to throw in quickly in case someone like listens to this and they're like, fuck them, and they turn off the episode.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. But I just wanted to finish saying with like the pronoun thing is like, like for some people, their like sexual orientation label may be really important to them. Pronouns are going to be really important to some other people for whom the pronouns that they use may not be what people assume right off the bat. We actually had a really cool talk about this in one of the previous episodes that we recorded. One of the previous episodes. I know that
I loved that conversation.
It was a really good one. If we as cisgender people can like always be throwing our pronouns out there, like every time we introduce ourselves, or like put it in your Instagram bio, put it in your Twitter bio, like put it on your Facebook bio. Yeah, if you normalize talking about it, when people who it's not obvious necessarily, not that you should ever assume somebody's pronouns, but like,
and especially younger people, I feel like, who are struggling, like from what I've gathered based off of like some of the tweets that I've seen and like the people that I've known who have transitioned, it's really, really hard to come to terms with the fact that you don't, like, I feel like based off of what I've seen, transgender individuals don't like automatically just know like, oh, I'm not, like, I need to transition my gender. Like, it's a long process where they're like, something doesn't feel right, and it takes a long time to kind of figure out what that is. But I'm not by any means an expert on that, so I will dive in. Those conversations will come across later, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. So if somebody is pretty serious about their pronouns, or wants you to respect them, absolutely, by all means.
Something I have been cognizantly trying to do over the past while is just start using their more, because it's a major adjustment for me, just because I was such like an English grammar person growing up, that I still have to like adjust my brain to like say there instead of like to dogs.
He or she.
Yeah, like it's not something that's natural to me, but I'm trying so hard to just always say there first instead of gendering anything.
Something that actually pissed off a lot of people my first year of law school is that we had some writing professors who were, I think most of them actually, and I think this is still like a thing in the legal world, in legal writing, is that like it's not accepted to use the singular they. There isn't widespread acceptance for it. Like I had one of my legal writing professor literally said like, you can't use the singular they. Like,
really?
We had to use, Yeah.
You had to use he, but just assume that it was all encompassing.
It used to be that, like, in laws and stuff, the way it used to be written, whenever you would need, like, a personal pronoun,
Yeah,
it would
even
always
looking
be
at,
the
like,
masculine one.
Constitution, it's like man is free.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, I'm not sure when, probably, like, maybe, like, the 80s? I don't know. I actually don't know. That was just a wild guess. But it switched over to she, where she was the...
Really?
Yeah. Now it should be they, and I should be able to write, if I'm talking about somebody whose gender whose pronouns I don't know, I should be able to just say they, because we do it all the fucking time. Did the mailman come today? I don't know. I didn't see him.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
a perfect example of when I'm just trying to like I was talking to one of my friends and we were talking about a music group and I wasn't sure if it was like one person or like a group of people. So I was just like, oh yeah, I know their music. And she was like, oh no, it's just one guy. And I was like, just using the general third, the rule of thirds.
I'm pretty sure the Merriam-Webster dictionary came out with a statement that was like, the singular they is real and has been in use since like before Shakespeare.
Wasn't it the
Like,
2019 word of the year or 2020
think it
word
was,
of the
yeah.
year? It was a word of the year in like December. Love that.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Thank God that the dictionary is like fucking awake.
I know, seriously. Did you ever see the one with some interview with Hillary Clinton from like the 90s or something, and like the set is like falling apart and you just hear her go, oh gosh.
No.
Very funny.
Maybe.
I actually know exactly where it is in my liked tweets, so I'll find it for you. Why do people use their liked tweets just to like fucking everything?
Okay, just at me next time.
No, but it's not you. It's literally everyone. Like, I only like tweets that like make me like laugh out loud. I use that so specifically as like, I just want to read through all of these and like be crying laughing.
Well, that's just what I use our DM thread for.
Yeah, that too.
Matthew.
Aaron, where did this podcast come from?
This podcast has been such a long time coming. So long.
How long?
A year.
How long?
10 inches. Yeah, so this podcast has been in the works for just about I feel like we talked about it before a year ago. I don't know. And we've gone through probably 300 different ideas and like progressions of ideas about what we want to spend our time doing every week. Matt, what was your idea?
The thing that I kind of ended up wanting to do, like, say if I were to do my own podcast, I would want to talk to older queer people about, their experience growing up, where they grew up, what it was like being queer, where they grew up, the things that they went through, advice that they wish they could give to their younger selves, things that they are happy that they did, things that they do different, but not talk to like celebrities or people who have a following or anything. Like, I want to talk to just like very
people.
Yeah, just people who aren't famous, people who don't have a following.
Under highlighted stories.
Yeah, exactly, because those all deserve to be, their stories deserve to be told. So I think as young queer people who are living in a world that is so much different than it was even like 5, 10, 15 years ago, we can't forget about those stories and forget where we came from. The struggle is not over by any means, but there has been so much change. I am really interested in talking to older queer people and hearing all the things that I kind of just said. So when we take that and mix it with Aaron's idea, which is...
One of my final ideas that I wanted to do for a podcast was just interviewing people in my life. There's a chance that this may turn into like a video project because it's still something that I really want to do. This specific idea that I wanted to do, I think almost will live better as a video. But I wanted to talk to people who I know and people who are like friends of friends who followed their passions and are now working in these quote-unquote dream jobs. Something that's always been like very stressed to me throughout my entire life by my parents are just kind of follow what you love and, the stereotypical, like, you'll never have to work a day in your life, like, you'll figure it all out, it's all going to work out, which is definitely a very privileged mindset, but one that I feel very lucky at this. Like, I appreciate that is what was instilled in me because, I feel like if that wasn't taught to me from a young age, like, I wouldn't be working in entertainment right now in LA. Like, pursuing like finance, things like that, I would have probably tried to like become a doctor. I, having now entered this entertainment realm and working from the from the ground up. I wanted to talk to people who have made it, are living these dream jobs, and did this by following their passions, and kind of talk to them about how they got there and how they did it, because everybody's stories are so different, and there's no cut path onto like how you know, do these wild jobs. It also comes from a place of like, I have no idea what I want to do later down the line. I know I want to be in the entertainment realm, but there are so many routes that I feel like I could go. A lot of the narrative that I've heard since moving to LA is, oh, like once you figure out what you want to do, like we'll be able to help you more. But then on the flip side, it's constantly this conversation of, oh, like you don't have to know what you want to do yet, like you're so young. And I feel like it would just be so much easier for me if these people would be like, this is what I see you doing, this is what I see you doing well in, this is where I think you should go. I just wanted to talk to these people about how they got to where they were, any advice they had for the younger generation. I think that Matt and I found an interesting way to kind of weave the two together, because well, that was the podcast that I wanted to do. I also, of course, am very interested in maths, and I feel like it's a very beautiful idea and very, very important and very powerful.
So we're trying to kind of mix the two of them together.
I feel like the underlying theme and ideal of this podcast is just going to kind of be queer profiles, you know, highlighting these queer voices that aren't necessarily told every day in our society because, you know, maybe they don't have a following, maybe, I don't know.
I think it's going to be really interesting to incorporate a lot of Aaron's ideas of like, where are you? How did you get there? What did you do along the way? What did that wouldn't necessarily be told to somebody who's trying to get where you are?
And how did your queerness play into that? Because people are working their way up in such a straight heteronormative world that is slowly opening up, but large in part, I feel like most major corporations, most jobs, most industries are still very, very, very straight. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's kind of where this podcast came from. I'm sure as we get going, we'll probably be able to make a little bit of a better elevator pitch than that. But
yeah, we'll condense her down. Another thing that I have also been very cognizant of that I think plays well into the idea of this podcast is back in October, I saw The Inheritance on Broadway, which it's like 7.5 hours, and it was absolutely incredible. But I didn't really know what it was about, but one of my friends was like, you need to come. And I was like, of course, like I'll come and support you. I ended up going. The theater was full mostly of like 55 plus gay men, and it was one of the most like emotional experiences I've ever had in my entire life. I think the only did you see Just Mercy in theaters, Matt?
No, I didn't see it in theaters.
Okay, that's like one of the only like similar experiences I've had where I can kind of like equate the two, where it's like the entire audience is like crying together. The Inheritance is about I think it was 3 generations of gay men in New York City, and how their lives kind of like intertwine with one another, and how it's like, even though when you're young you think that you're like living this amazing life and so many, like your blinders are completely on. It perfectly articulated how important the generations above us are, and how the people who came before us paved the way and are the only reason that we're able to live the lives that we live today are because of those who came before us. And I think that's something that I've kind of taken for granted throughout my queer life when I started like actually living like a queer life.
You're not alone in that. I mean, it's definitely something that I did too, and something that I know a lot of people take for granted as well.
Absolutely. It's part, I feel like, and that's part of like this growing up where you're like, oh, the world isn't actually just about me. Like there are these incredible people and incredible stories.
Can you believe?
No, I can't. That's something that like it really like hit hard with me, and it's part of the reason that I signed up to do AIDS Life Cycle, because I was like, I need to really like get out of this bubble. So I'm really excited for that about this podcast too, to interview people that like I probably wouldn't otherwise really have these conversations with, and I hope that people will enjoy listening to them, because you gotta appreciate the people before you.
Yeah, totally. I think another thing about this podcast that is important to clarify is that, you know, while a large part of this identity, kind of our queer identity, does revolve around, you know, sex and romance and attraction, this is not a sex podcast. I mean, no. I think that's pretty obvious. You know, this is not going to be a deep dive into our sex lives.
Our parents are definitely going to listen to this, so maybe there will be like little glimpses where we're like, I just have to tell this one story, but that's definitely not going to be the
Yeah.
The meat and
No, I'm
the meat
sure.
and cheese.
I think PG-13 is maybe what we'd give this podcast. I mean, I think it'd be really cool to have like teenagers who are experiencing high school right now. That's totally different from us. That being
Yeah.
said, I'm going to say it right now. If we have anybody under the age of 18, your parents are going to have to sign a waiver, a consent
Yes.
form.
Absolutely.
And I'm not playing around with that shit. I really want to hear what you have to say. But your parents will be signing a consent form. They'll probably be listening in.
That's so interesting. That's something, like, I haven't really thought about that, but it's definitely even, since we've graduated high school, the scene has definitely changed.
Oh
the
my
playing
God,
field.
totally.
A different world,
I mean, like,
for sure.
when I was in high school, there was it was me and Ian
No
who
way.
were like, who were like known as like openly gay.
School didn't really have any like openly gay kids. Even it's like, looking back, like there's no way that it was like a secret that I was not straight, but it was never anything that I like addressed in high school because I was like, why would I ever call attention to this right now? Like I was like, I can wait. Like we mentioned earlier in this podcast, this is going to be a learning experience for us, for sure.
Big time.
We're going to fuck up. We're going to try really hard not to. I just feel like it's inevitable.
Someone's always going to have something to say, and I think as much as we don't want to fuck up, we don't know everything.
No.
I definitely don't know everything. We're really excited to learn a lot from this.
Yeah. Matt, you seem kind of sleepy right now.
Do I? I mean, it's almost 11 o'clock. It's past my bedtime, girl. Wow, can you believe that?
Can you believe?
If we fuck up and we say something that we shouldn't have,
We apologize in advance.
yeah, apologize in advance. Roast us in the DMs.
We know it's not your
that's-
job to help us be better, but also, like you've said in the past few times that we've like recorded this, we will pass on our fuck ups. Like if you DM us and you're like, oh, you shouldn't have said that, we'll get on the next episode and be like, hey, we put our foot in our mouth just so that everyone else is aware of this too, so that we can all learn together.
That's like something I've really enjoyed hearing in other podcasts I've listened to is where
Yeah, when they acknowledge
they'll come
it.
on the next episode and be like, I said this and I
learned that I
found
shouldn't
it."
have.
Yeah, so I'm not going to fucking say that anymore, and I'm going to very intentionally use the correct term.
Yep. And I think that that is the most important thing that we can do as human beings is just acknowledge our previous faults and like actively do better.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it depends if you believe in cancel culture or not, because I think to a degree it doesn't. I don't think it exists in the way that we think it does, but that's a conversation for a whole other time.
That would be a
But,
good podcast episode. I would love to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, should we bring on someone who's been canceled?
James Charles.
I was just thinking that.
Really?
But like, yeah, like get educated
Mm-hmm.
because you're not. No one's perfect. No one knows everything unless you're Angela Davis. When you get educated, like that is a celebration. You know, we literally spend our whole lives like getting educated, and that doesn't just end. And clearly, our schools are not teaching us about social, societal issues.
Yeah, implications and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So like, we're all still learning, and it's important to.
You would think that that would be like
Like we would
a
say.
mandatory class at like a liberal arts college. Like I'm surprised that I didn't have to take a mandatory social implications class at Tufts.
You think a predominantly white institution would be able to effectively teach that? I feel like we're seeing now more than ever that like these
There's a
schools
lot
don't give
further
a
to go.
fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's true because at the end of the day, it's like they will frame themselves as like institutions of learning, but they're just businesses. That's why Harvard took out
Fully.
that fucking loan.
Oh yeah. I mean, I found out today that is not gonna do anything about tuition for the fall.
Even though you're remote, that's disgusting.
It's because they're giving us the option because they will have in-person classes, so it's like you can
So
still
you
get your.
choose your safety in a global pandemic.
I know it's such bullshit.
I feel like that could be like a class action eventually.
I don't need eventually. I need now.
I know.
Yeah,
Just like
that's-
realizing things.
But this isn't like come on the show and teach us. I think
No,
you,
no, no.
you mentioned this before.
Yeah.
It's like
That's
we're
not
gonna
what we
learn
want
from
this
other
to be.
people. We're
We never want
gonna
this to
have
feel like a
people tell-
burden for us or for anyone else. Like if we want people to come on who are excited to talk about things and not like teach us a lesson, but just like tell us their stories.
The way the episodes are probably going to go is we're gonna talk about them. They're going to introduce themselves. We're going to hear about their life story, whatever. But we're hopefully going to be able to then dive into some substantive, relevant topic to their lives, something that they would have a really interesting opinion on or have a really big knowledge of.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that that is it for this little intro Meet the Gals episode.
Yeah, if there's more that you want to know, I guess just ask us.
My Instagram is at Aaron Idelson, AARONIDELSON. That's pretty much all of my social media or like just everything.
And I am at Matty Rohr, MattyRohrer. I'm not really on much other than Instagram. I guess I'm on Twitter, but I don't ever tweet anything.
But his like tweets are funny.
Yeah, I'm a Twitter lurker. I'm one of those.
That's like the best use of Twitter, though, in my opinion.
Oh, it's amazing.
Twitter is also such a good source for like breaking news. I will never forget when I was 12. That's how I found out that Michael Jackson died.
When I was 25, that's how I found out that's how I found out that Kobe Bryant died.
I found out that Kobe Bryant died because my friend was literally sitting on my toilet and screamed through the door, "Kobe Bryant is dead!" And I was like, what?
Oh my God. Well, did you hear that? Like, you know that like TMZ reported on it before Vanessa even found out. Like,
I did know that.
Fuck that.
So disgusting.
Yeah.
And that's
disgusting.
just another one of the countless examples of how media needs to change in America ASAP.
ASAP. If you want to hit up our podcast Instagram, it's at Queering the Air Pod. Hit us up there with questions, any suggestions.
Open for everything. If there's anything you want to hear us talk about, if there's anyone you think would be a really interesting guest, we will do our best to get them to come talk to us.
Reminder that, I mean, Aaron's more of a somebody than I am, but...
this is all relative.
We're not really famous by, I don't know, any stretch. So if you come into our DMs and say, "Oh my God, can you get RuPaul on there?"
We can fucking try.
He's not going to answer our DMs. So
No.
Within reason, people.
Maybe in like 2 years. Like, who knows? We'll keep him in our back pocket. Of course, we would love to talk to RuPaul.
Yeah, in the back pocket of his Klein, Epstein, and Parker suit.
Goodbye.
Anyway, thank you for joining us for this intro episode. We hope that you enjoy
whatever this
it is. Yeah.
The more that we
gonna be
do this,
fun.
I promise we will find our footing through. Like, it's gonna grow and progress over time, and we're all gonna grow and progress together.
And we're gonna have a bomb-ass time doing it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get a hell yeah?
All right, guys. Over and out. We'll catch you next time.
Peace and blessings.
Bye.
Love you.